In an era heavily influenced by contemporary comforts, the Amish community stands out due to their exceptional skill in preserving milk, independent of refrigeration or pasteurization. Their methods reveal a profound reverence for heritage, the natural world, and ingenuity, demonstrating how age-old practices, handed down through generations, maintain the freshness and nutritional value of milk. When considering milk preservation, one way the Amish address the issue is by transforming it into a powdered state. It might not be the most prevalent practice within their communities, but when they employ it, it's akin to an ingenious feat, converting a liquid prone to rapid spoilage into a powder that could seemingly endure an apocalypse. All right, perhaps not quite that extensive, but certainly close. You would be astonished by the amount of moisture concealed within a glass of milk. Drying it is comparable to wringing water from a sponge you hadn't realized was saturated. The outcome is a fine, dusty powder capable of sitting on a shelf for months without eliciting that unpleasant, "I shouldn't have smelled this" reaction. And once you possess the powder, simply add water, and presto, it's reconstituted for consumption. Granted, it might not taste precisely like a fresh gallon directly from Bessie the cow, but in challenging times, my friend, it suffices. Amish families employing this method do not possess sophisticated industrial equipment for it. Instead, it is frequently accomplished using self-made dehydrators or even wood-fueled contraptions because, let's be honest, they can construct almost anything with wood and nails. The procedure demands time, likely a duration many of us might find excessive, which contributes to its charm. Slow and steady wins the race, and in this instance, it secures a pantry stocked with milk powder that can endure beyond a couple of Ohio winters. Fun fact, powdered milk, if stored correctly, can last up to 25 years. That's longer than most Hollywood marriages. If there's one insight I gained from spending time on an Amish farm, it's that patience is an integral part of all their activities. On one occasion, I attempted to assist with butter churning, and after 5 minutes of cranking, my arms felt like jelly. The woman of the household merely smiled and remarked, "Tired already?" That's the warm-up. This same consistent, deliberate manner is what enables the milk drying process to succeed. It revolves around proceeding gradually, with gentle heat, ample agitation, and a dash of optimism. It's the kind of practice that makes one ponder if individuals in the 21st century even comprehend what patience entails anymore. They aren't precisely operating a powdered milk factory, but when executed correctly, the results are akin to pure gold. Powdered gold. The appeal of powdered milk is its flawless integration into a lifestyle centered on self-sufficiency. When you have milk in powdered form, it provides versatility. Mix it for drinking, incorporate it into recipes, or simply keep it available for emergencies. No refrigeration is necessary, and there are no expiration dates looming like ticking time bombs. And here's a little secret. It's not solely humans who benefit. Some Amish farmers even utilize it to provide sustenance for livestock during arid periods or when fresh milk is scarce. It's a sensible answer to a challenging issue. Like most things the Amish do, they have a knack for making existence appear straightforward, even though anyone who has attempted it understands that such simplicity demands considerable exertion. This method also proves useful when conditions become uncertain. Imagine severe winter weather causing prolonged power outages. For the rest of us, that means a state of alarm, no refrigerator, no milk, and disarray at supermarkets. But for the Amish, it's merely a typical day. They have their powdered milk stored in glass jars or securely sealed containers, sitting quietly on a shelf, ready for use. There's no need to rush, no need to panic. That's the genuine magic behind all these preservation methods. It's not just about keeping milk safe to drink, it's about maintaining tranquility. Transforming milk into butter is more than just a preservation technique. It's a physical endeavor yielding a delicious reward at the end. The Amish approach to butter making appears simple, but once you're midway through churning that thick cream, you'll discover muscles you were unaware of. It's somewhat like attempting to whisk cement. Initially, it's enjoyable, but by the 10th minute, you're wondering how your grandmother accomplished it with such apparent ease. Trust me, I once tried helping churn butter during a visit to an Amish family. 5 minutes in, my arms gave up, and their teenage daughter took over with the energy of someone who's been cranking churns since birth. She gave me a grin and said, "Tired already?" Yeah, butter making builds character and biceps. The process commences by isolating the cream from the milk, usually after allowing it to rest and separate naturally through the night. The Amish don't rush these things. They know that patience is a key ingredient. Once the cream is removed, it goes into a churn and the actual labor commences. Some families use the traditional hand-crank churn, while others opt for a plunger-style churn, essentially a tall cylinder with a stick you plunge up and down until your arms become exhausted. There's no electricity involved, just physical effort and resolve. After what seems like an endless duration but is probably only 20 minutes, the cream thickens and suddenly butter begins to solidify. Along with it comes buttermilk, which is also utilized. It's saved for baking or even drinking. Waste not, want not. What makes butter such an ingenious preservation technique is that it has a much greater shelf life than milk, especially if stored in a cool place. Salted butter enhances this, acting like a natural preservative. The salt prevents bacterial growth, so butter can remain unspoiled for weeks. And if you've ever had fresh Amish butter spread on warm bread, you'll know it justifies the exertion. Butter this good is so good it feels almost indulgent, like you're getting away with something. Some Amish families store their butter in stone crocks, stowed in cool cellars. It's the kind of traditional storage method that makes you wonder if contemporary refrigerators might be overvalued. On cooler days, the butter is prominently displayed on the kitchen counter, ready for action. It's amusing how butter, something so simple, becomes the focal point of each meal, from morning toast to mashed potatoes at dinner. The beauty of this method is its sustainable nature. There's no frantic rush to consume milk before it spoils. Instead, it's akin to alchemy, turning a spoilable item into one that remains fresh long after the cows have gone back to grazing. Butter has this way of integrating perfectly with the cadence of Amish existence. It's not just a way to save milk, it's part of the tradition, and it's practical too. In fact, salted butter stored in a cool cellar can remain good for months, longer than most of us keep track of expiration dates on store-bought tubs. And let's not forget the added benefit of buttermilk. It gets whisked into pancakes, biscuits, or cornbread, adding a taste profile store-bought alternatives cannot match. There's also a gratifying aspect to the ritual of churning butter. The process itself is as important as the outcome. Maybe that's what makes it so special, knowing that every spoonful is the product of diligent effort. Butter transcends being a mere condiment. It's a recompense, a little pat on the back. Literally, if you're over-enthusiastic with your serving size. You value it differently than a store-bought item. And in true Amish fashion, they found a way to transform this essential task into a craft, one that leaves a lasting impression long after the butter is gone. This procedure is not merely traditional, it's exceptionally practical. On hot summer days, when the heat makes fresh milk go sour very quickly, butter remains firm and dependable. While milk might go bad, butter holds its own, sitting calmly on the shelf, ready to be spread, melted, or whisked into a recipe. And here's the surprising part. Even if the butter does start to soften in the summer heat, it doesn't immediately spoil, but instead becomes easier to spread. That's what I call a win-win. If only more things in life could manage stress with the same composure as butter. Cheese isn't merely preserved milk. It's what happens when dairy aspirations are realized. Turning milk into cheese isn't a job. It's more like gently guiding milk to achieve its full potential. And the Amish, they've elevated it to an art. With a pinch of rennet, a few hours of stirring, and a lot of patience, they transform fresh milk into magical wheels. Hard cheeses like cheddar, parmesan, or even Gouda are the go-to choices. Why? These cheeses are marathon runners, not sprinters. They last far longer than soft cheeses like brie or mozzarella. You could say they're the preppers of the dairy world, ready to survive anything from a power outage to a particularly challenging Ohio summer. And in the cool basement of an Amish farmhouse, a hunk of well-waxed cheddar can mature elegantly for months, getting sharper with every passing day. It's basically the cheese equivalent of that cranky uncle who somehow becomes funnier with age. The key element for these long-lasting cheeses is wax. Once a cheese is waxed, it's hermetically sealed from air and bacteria. Elaborate, humidity-regulated caves are unnecessary. Just a cool, dark spot will do. Ice houses serve as superb alternatives, but even a root cellar is also effective. In fact, there's something rather appealing to imagine a large wheel of cheese quietly aging next to a basket of potatoes, undisturbed. And here's an interesting piece of information. The longer a cheese is aged, the more intense the flavor. An Amish cheddar aged for a year or two, that's not just food. It's a gastronomic journey. You'll know you've hit the jackpot when a single bite makes your palate tingles and your olfactory senses are stimulated. That's flavor with personality. They say that cheddar may form crystals over time, which are like crisp, unexpected textures hidden in every bite, a kind of edible treasure hunt. Now, if you've ever wondered about how they store all that cheese, the solution is found in their pragmatic approach. They might cut the amount required for the week and leave the rest sealed in wax, stored for later consumption. Cheese isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. On cold winter days when fresh milk isn't flowing, a slice of that aged cheese can transform simple bread into a satisfying meal. I remember once visiting an Amish family during their cheese-making season. The kitchen smelled of milk and fresh whey, and there were massive pots on the stove bubbling away with curds. They let me stir the pot, and let me tell you, agitating curds is more challenging than it appears. After a few minutes, my arm was burning, but the kids, who had been doing it all day, appeared unbothered. When I asked how they kept at it, one of them just grinned and said, "We build our strength one wheel of cheddar at a time." And speaking of the kids, they cherish learning the familial cheese-making methods. It's not just food, it's tradition. Each wheel, each batch embodies a piece of their family heritage, passed down from one generation to the next. It's a beautiful thing, really. And as someone who's tasted their work, I can confidently say there's nothing quite like homemade Amish cheese. Even when I tried storing some of it back home, it felt like the flavor seemed to enhance daily, as if it was waiting for the perfect moment to disclose its complete character. But don't let the gradual aging process mislead you. Cheese making might take time, but the reward is immediate. Once that knife slices through the waxy shell, it's like unwrapping a gift every time. It feels special. And in a way, cheese teaches a life lesson too. Good things really do come to those who wait. So the next time you see a wheel of Amish cheese, know that it's beyond being merely dairy. It's a tribute to patience, practicality, and a touch of enjoyment. And if you've got a block aging somewhere in your kitchen right now, you're in for a treat. Just don't let it age too long, or it might acquire its own distinct character. Ever heard the phrase, "let nature take its course"? The Amish embrace this philosophy with milk fermentation because sometimes milk that seems spoiled is actually transforming into something superior. Fermentation makes clabber, yogurt, and other tangy treats, giving dairy extended viability without relying on electricity. What makes this process fascinating is that it's neither hurried nor complicated, just raw milk, time, and the right environment. It's the kind of simplicity that feels like a subtle defiance of contemporary expiration dates. Fermented milk requires minimal intervention. Leave it sitting out long enough, preferably in a cool room or cellar, and instead of an unpleasant, acidic outcome, you'll get rich, cultured product. Clabber, a prominent feature in Amish cuisine, comes from milk naturally fermenting into a creamy, yogurt-like texture. It's unpretentious, yet delectable, especially spread over warm cornbread or biscuits. And there's a certain satisfaction in knowing that this was once the primary morning meal for early pioneers, because why waste fresh milk when you can allow it to develop into a more durable product? Now, clabber might not appeal to everyone initially. I remember visiting an Amish farm where the woman of the household handed me a spoonful with a beaming smile. I was hesitant, but after one taste, that piquant, full flavor immediately captivated me. It's the kind of food that makes you realize some things, such as strong friendships or aged cheddar, improve with time. The true art is in its application. Amish families don't just sprinkle salt on food, they employ it with careful planning. Butter, for instance, gets liberally salted before being stored in crocks or tightly sealed jars. You'll find that some families even partially enter the jars in the earth in a cool cellar to maintain a consistent temperature. As for cheese, the process is all about patience. Hard cheeses get coated or immersed in brine, a saltwater solution so intense it could make the Dead Sea look drinkable. It's not uncommon to see a few salt-rubbed wheels of cheddar resting on a shelf, waiting to become the highlight of a Sunday meal. But the significance extends further. Salt serves not only for preservation, but also embodies tradition. There's a certain cadence to how Amish families make their salted butter, mixing just the right amount to keep it fresh yet flavorful. This is not arbitrary. It's a formula transmitted through generations, like a family secret. And as far as secrets go, salt really is one of those modest components that prove to be transformative. It's why some cheeses can sit for months, developing a more pronounced and appealing flavor as the weeks pass. Thinking back, my first taste of salted Amish butter came during a visit to a friend's farm. They handed me a warm slice of bread with a thick layer of golden butter on it. I'd expected it to taste, well, like butter, but the saltiness struck my palate like a well-delivered punchline in a joke, precisely the right level of zest. That's when I realized that in a place where refrigerators are few and far between, salt is more than a seasoning. It's essential for survival. Kefir is like the non-conformist adolescent among dairy items, brimming with character and unexpected qualities. While yogurt might be the responsible older sibling, kefir follows its own unique rhythm, turning simple milk into something extraordinary. It's made using grains comprising both bacteria and yeast, resulting in an effervescent, piquant beverage that's not only tasty, but also beneficial for digestive health. The Amish have embraced kefir as though it originated with them, using it both as nutritious sustenance and a traditional cure. The beauty of kefir lies in its longevity. It can hang around longer than a guest who's overstayed their welcome. Once the milk has been transformed, it stores effectively in a cool location, making it a reliable option when fresh milk is nearing its limit. Plus, kefir's probiotic advantages are an added perk, helping with digestion while you sip away. If you ever see an Amish farmer giving kefir to their cattle, don't be surprised. It's a common feed for their animals too. The animals flourish with it, proving that good things come in tangy packages. Now, if you've never tried kefir, let me tell you, it's not a typical beverage. The first time I tasted it, I was doubtful. I had grown up with milk as my go-to, but then I encountered this effervescent, sharp marvel. Imagine my surprise when I found out it's not merely soured milk. It's a pleasurable encounter. Enjoying a glass of homemade kefir alongside some warm, fresh bread is a memory I still cherish. Talk about a gastronomic journey experienced right at the kitchen table. And here's a small piece of information. Did you know that kefir can be made from a variety of milks? Cow, goat, even sheep, whatever suits your preference? The beauty of kefir is that it can acquire distinct tastes depending on the milk you use. So, if you're inclined to experiment, you might find yourself trying different kinds of milk, making each batch a little different from the last. Just imagine sitting down with your family and friends, exchanging tales while enjoying homemade kefir, each sip bringing a new layer of flavor. Let's not forget the enjoyable aspect of kefir grains, their proliferation. It's like a miniature scientific endeavor in your kitchen. Every time you make a batch, you can end up with more grains to share with friends or even use in other recipes. It's an excellent way to strengthen connections with neighbors or acquaint others with the pleasures of cultured milk. Plus, who doesn't love a good conversation starter about those peculiar small grains that continue to produce? So next time you think of milk, consider this. It's not just a drink, it's a realm of potential. From refreshing kefir to the profound, zesty tastes unique to fermentation, there's a whole journey in each glass. And if you've ever experienced the delight of finding a new culinary favorite, you know just how rewarding it can be. With kefir in the mix, the Amish way of preserving milk is not only functional, but downright tasty. Why depend on a refrigerator when nature itself has provided an alternative? Spring houses are an ingenious, straightforward answer the Amish have been using for generations. They're built right over a natural spring, Think of it as a naturally cooled space operating entirely without electricity. You can almost hear Mother Nature expressing her contentment. Here's how it works. The consistently cool, flowing water beneath maintains a chilly interior atmosphere in the spring house all year round. So when the milk jugs are placed in this aquatic sanctuary, they stay fresh and cold without any of the complications of contemporary refrigeration. It's like providing the milk a brief respite every time you store it. And it's not just milk that benefits. Eggs, butter, and cheese often take a dip in these cool waters too. They're practically the versatile champions of dairy storage. Imagine yourself within a spring house on a hot summer day. The internal temperature is markedly cooler than outside. The serenity is tangible, and the gentle sound of water flowing adds to the charm. It's a subtly invigorating spot to linger, not to mention the perfect cover for surreptitiously acquiring a piece of cheese unnoticed. Seriously, it surpasses any mechanical cooling system on the market. On a more personal note, the first time I stepped into a spring house, I felt like I'd discovered a concealed gem. I didn't know what to expect, but the refreshing air was as comforting as an embrace from a long-lost companion. The aroma of fresh cheese blended with the cool, clear water was something I'll never forget. And the milk, oh boy, it tasted as if it had been caressed by the cool spring itself. The Amish are adept at utilizing available resources, and spring houses are a prime illustration of their ingenuity. They've turned a common flowing stream into a clever food storage system. Now that's a clear win-win situation if I've ever seen one. What's even more remarkable is how these spring houses maintain their coolness in the oppressive summer heat and the harsh winter cold. While most of us are increasing our heating, the Amish are simply allowing nature to follow its course. It's a reminder of how some of the most effective answers originate from the natural world, requiring little more than a bit of ingenuity and a whole lot of patience. The art of using spring houses is like an exemplary lesson in sustainability. No energy bills, no gadgets, just unadulterated, straightforward, and efficient preservation. Next time you sip a glass of milk or spread some butter on bread, think of all the clever methods that keep it fresh and delicious. It's all about that enduring heritage, ensuring that milk doesn't just stay good, it becomes an essential component of everyday existence. Sour cream is like the sagacious elder among dairy items, mildly piquant, somewhat unconventional, and ideal for adding zest. Making sour cream is unexpectedly simple. Amish households frequently allow raw milk to sour naturally by leaving it out. Some might add special cultures to speed up the process, but either way, it's all about permitting nature to proceed unhindered. This non-interventional method reflects the Amish belief in harmonizing with natural cadences rather than opposing them. Why does this creamy delicacy withstand the passage of time? Well, sour cream's piquant quality derives from lactic acid produced during fermentation, which helps restrict the proliferation of undesirable bacteria. This means it can endure for several weeks in a cool setting, ideal for spooning onto baked potatoes, mixing into soups, or even adding a dollop to fresh cornbread. I remember the first time I tasted homemade sour cream at an Amish farm. Skeptical at first, I thought, sour? No thanks. But one bite on that warm cornbread changed my mind. The creaminess and subtle tang convinced me. It was a burst of taste that made me reevaluate every commercial version I had previously experienced. When the cream starts to sour, it can also be a sign that it's evolving into a unique product. This evolution is mutually beneficial for both flavor and storage. Who knew that letting milk sit could result in such a tasty result? Imagine hosting a dinner and serving up a rich, tangy sour cream alongside your famous potato soup. Your guests would be completely unaware, thinking you spent hours perfecting it, when in reality, it was just the simple wonder of milk souring. Plus, it can be used in various recipes, from dips to dressings, making it an adaptable essential in any culinary space. Ever tried it in pancakes? Trust me, it adds an extraordinary lightness. When you think about it, sour cream epitomizes Amish resourcefulness, taking something simple and transforming it into something enjoyable. By adopting age-old methods founded on simplicity and cleverness, the Amish demonstrate that With a bit of patience and knowledge, we can maintain nature's abundance without the need for modern technology. Their practices not only preserve milk, but also uphold a lifestyle that cherishes sustainability and a bond with the earth.